Welcome to day 3 of Active Record Week here on Rails 1. Last time we added a one-to-one relationship between projects and descriptions in our project management app. This time we are going to create a many-to-many relationship between projects and a new model we're going to call users. We want users to be able to work on multiple projects and multiple users to be able to work on the same project. Now there are two ways to accomplish this in Rails, and we're going to start off with a simpler one today. It's through using a has and belongs to many statement in the models file. While this method is very quick, it is less functional than the other approach, which is has many through. In this approach, we will only be able to join based on the IDs. We won't be able to add any extra information like the type of join or when the join occurred. Stuff like that we will have to wait until tomorrow to see how to do. So first things first, let's pull up our terminal and create our users model. We will give it a field of first name and last name. Both of those are type string. Generate that model, and then we will create a second model for the join table. So in Rails, we have a convention where we alphabetize the model names that we are joining in the table. So in this case, we have projects and users. P comes before U, so our join table will be called projects underscore users. And we're going to give it two fields. We're going to give it a project ID field, which will be of type integer, and a user ID field, also of type integer. So let's go ahead and take a look at those migration files. The creation of the user table is just fine. We don't need to change anything here. We've got our first name and our last name. But in the creation of the join table, we need to make sure we take out the timestamp, because remember, we are doing has and belongs to many. We can't have any extraneous information around. We will also want to make sure that an ID column is not generated. This is just standard practice for this type of join. So we'll save that. And let's go ahead and alter our models files to make sure we have the right stuff set up here. So we'll add our has and belongs to many. We'll say projects. Go ahead and save that, and then we will bring up the project and add the has and belongs to many relation here as well for users. We will need to run our migration now. That ran through successfully. Take a look at our schema again and make sure we've got our users table and we've got our projects users table, just as we expected. Let's take a look at the Rails console to see what we can do now. First things first, we want to create two users to test with. So for the first user, I'll create one for myself. Let's fix that. Okay, so created a first test user, and then I'll just create a generic testing user for the second record. Bob test. There we go. Now we have two test users. Now let's create two projects. call the first project front end development. And the second project we will call backend engineering. So we can add users to each of these projects. Well, we can associate these projects with users in two different ways, one at a time, like so. Project1.users, and then we'll do the double in caret for user 1. There we go. Now we've created an association. Or we can use active record lookups on the users themselves. So for project 2, I am going to assign all of the users that we've created to that project. It's just as simple as assigning one. You just have to build your active record query and then run it. So that's all for has and belongs to many. Tomorrow we'll be discussing its brother or sister, has many through, which will allow us to add attributes to the join table. Until then, happy Rails programming.